Hey, this is Stefan and I'm here for BitB, and today we wanted to have a look at the Winamax UNO Promotion. Honestly, I think that's a very good one, and there's a lot of value that we can get by playing according to the promo. And yeah, I don't know when there was the last promo which actually where you had to think about what you're doing that much to really improve what you can win. And I think what you can win is actually quite substantial here in terms of buy-ins. So yeah, let's just have a look at the kind of basic ideas first and the general rules. So first of all, standard UNO rules apply kinda. So you kind of put you can kind of put like a color card on the same color card, obviously, and you kind of put the same number on the same number. Same for +2. You can put like a +2 on every color or on every +2 card. The negative effects, though, only apply if you're getting third. Basically, there are 20 negative effects cards. So take 4, 8 take 2 cards, and 8 skip cards. The interesting thing is, yeah, because they only apply when you get third, it's still really not happening that frequently. So yeah, other than this, you have like these 8 black cards, which are like really good. Basically, it's either you can put your black cards on every other card, or you can put any other card on these black cards. So obviously, hitting these is quite good. What's actually very important and different than normal UNO is that you draw always from a fresh deck. So the card that you see on the table is drawn from the 100 cards. So it does not matter what kind of cards you have in hand. So for example, let's say you use the normal UNO deck and you have like 4 red cards in the hand. Then you draw 1 card. Your odds of hitting like a red card are actually 5% decreased, or like 5% less than they are during this promotion. Basically, there are 23 red cards, and if you have 5 in hand, then you actually could only draw 18 of them with like a real UNO deck that you have in hand. But because Winamax is always drawing from 100 new cards, you increase the draw that you have by these 5 cards. So it actually increases the odds of you just kind of finishing the game and yeah, I mean kind of winning some more buy-ins, which is like really good. And then you have like a 10-second time bank to kind of play your card, and this time bank is actually pretty cool, and it's important that you use this time bank basically. And yeah, I will speak about how to do that best later. And yeah, obviously the goal, not really anything crazy, is to just play all your cards as soon as possible. So if we take a look at the basic ideas, obviously first of all, we always want to have a look at what kind of cards will actually help us. So what are our outs? As I said already, there are 100 cards that the deck is drawn from, or like where Winamax is drawing the cards from, and then it's just a matter of what kind of cards we have in hand and how many cards will help us. So for example, let's say we have like a yellow 1, then every black card helps us, which is 8. Every other yellow card helps us, which is 23 in this case, and every other 1 helps us, which is 6. So at the end, it's 37 cards that are good for us. And as you see, it increases more frequently when, okay, putting it differently. Let's say the range when we have like 1 color or like 3 colors is basically 79 to 85 outs that we have. But if we have 4 numbers, it just means that the range is between 55 and 85. So looking at that, we can clearly see that it's so much more important for us to have 4 different colors at the end of the time. So if possible, we always want to get the biggest diversity in terms of colors that we have. So obviously black cards are best, then just trying to have like 4 different colors, and after that we kind of try to get 4 different numbers. There's one thing that I did not, actually let's quickly go back. So we see that color cards are always twice, we have 2x in the deck, except the 0. So that's actually the other kind of important point. 0 doesn't happen as frequently. So if we go back and now we have a 0, like a yellow 0, then instead of like 6 cards that help us, which are the same number, it's only 3. So at this point we only have like 34 cards that help. So it decreases our chances slightly, but it's not a big deal anyways. But yeah, if you have the option, always you should kind of play 0 first. But yeah, I guess that's kind of straightforward. And all other cards are in the deck twice, except the black cards, but that's a different story anyways. So there's no equity advantage over like playing one card or the next one if we only look at our hands. And yeah, as I said, what's important then is just so that we're gonna get as many colors as possible, always in our hand. And yeah, the next interesting thing, and this is also where our time bank comes into play, is that we should actually try to multi-table. So 4 to 6 tables, I would say, should be the minimum. Maybe more if you can, at least especially in the beginning, because like first of all, what we want is kind of trying to get as many tries as possible to at some point get lucky enough, because it's still like the odds of getting it are still not so high, so you need to obviously get lucky, but you can increase the chances of getting lucky and also like of reaping the benefits at the end with like the good strategies. So advantages of multi-tabling are basically, first of all, that you kind of get more rounds, but also let's say you're able to play a card. So you have your 10 seconds time bank, and you have two cards that have kind of the same equity to put on the table. So you have only like one yellow one and one red one in hand, and you can kind of play these two, but you can't play like a different card of these. So both have actually the same equity. And the question is then which hand or like which cards you want to play. Either you flip if you don't have a better idea, and I would usually just not care at all if I have like still 7 cards left in hand. But let's say we have 4 cards left. At this point, we can actually have a look at what kind of cards we see on the other tables. And that's where we can also get a good advantage by multi-tabling. So let's say I have this choice between this red and yellow one, and I see that I have like one table with a yellow card. All right, great. Then obviously I play the red card, so I still have the yellow card for my next table. If I have like a red and a yellow table, then I should decide on like which table I'm more likely to win. So if I'm in heads up in the red card and I'm still 3-way in with the yellow one, then I would probably still put the yellow card now to kind of keep my red card. And also they're kind of keeping the time bank a bit, so maybe the next hand already something develops is quite important. All right, yeah, I think that's basically the main things. I think we would speak about more things as well. Oh yeah, actually, quickly to this example. This only is important when both cards have the same equity. So let's say we have what we had, like a red one, a yellow one, and now we also have a yellow two that we could kind of put on the table. If that is the case, and let's say we see that we have like one red table, like one other red card on the table. Let's say it differently. We see that we have like 2 other yellow cards on the tables. We could argue that we actually want to play the red card. I would not do that in that case, except if we are very, very likely to win both yellow cards. Other than this, we should still put the yellow one on board, because first of all, it kind of gives us more numbers, because then we have a 1 and a 2, right? And also, we are not 100% likely to win the other games, so in this case, it's still better to kind of keep the diversity. Especially if we have like still 4 or 5 cards left. If it's actually the case and we are very close to finishing our game, and let's say we only have these 3 cards left, then it's different, because we have to consider, all right, how many draws I have actually after. So if it's only these 3 cards, you probably consider to actually play like your red card, basically, if you have 2 yellow cards there, because as you will see later, it's very important to kind of get the higher cards. So it's not always straightforward, and you kind of need to consider at which stage of the game you're at. So how many games did you already play, stuff like that, which is actually quite important, like how many cards you have remaining, and things like this. All right, so let's kind of go slightly more in depth and try to see how we can actually get more advantages here and increase our AV even further. First of all, let's just have a look at the potential winnings first. And what we see is that we can get like a 100x winning and a 25x winning, but this obviously only happens if we either just put all cards down in a row or kind of have like only one skip in between. It just means that at the end, the winnings that we can get are like highest at the top. And because they're highest at the top, this is where we should alter our strategy the most. If we only play for like a 1 buy-in or maybe 2 buy-ins, altering our strategy is not as important anymore. Obviously, then it also depends on how many cards we have remaining. But for example, it probably makes sense already, like if we kind of play for the 100x, to start altering our play if we have like only like 4 games left, or at least it's way more important to do that and think about what's happening than if we just play for like 1 buy-in to win or 2 buy-ins to win. So what kind of strategies we can use to increase? This is where it becomes quite interesting. First of all, let's think about negative card effects. As I said, we have 20 of these cards in the deck. The thing is, it only happens when we're getting third. So it's like 20% chance of hitting one, and then it's like 30% chance of kind of getting third, right? So yeah, I mean, basically that is just something that is not happening so frequently, so it rarely impacts our EV. And we should usually not care, especially let's say we have like 4 cards left or whatever, and we're not on a streak to winning like the 100x. That's something where we should really not care about. We can care if we have like 1 card left and there's a chance of us winning like a 3x or 5x. There it makes sense to kind of try to avoid getting third. But let's say we only play for 1 buy-in, and we want to avoid getting third, and we do some minus EV plays. So first of all, if we play for like 1 game on the side and we have like a 36% chance of winning, and we only can win 1 buy-in, let's say we play 50s, then the EV of this game is actually like 18 euros, right? So in the other game, we can't lose much euros basically to kind of make it kind of created like the effect where the other game that we're playing is actually minus EV. So if we have both games open, we need to be careful that we don't drop 18 euros on the other table by making minus EV plays. So as soon as it's not a lot of buy-ins, we need to be careful with how we alter our play, and also like especially like kind of trying to avoid negative card effects, for example. If we are playing for like a higher buy-in or like for higher multipliers, then of course we need to be more careful with avoiding these situations. So yeah, as a good rule of thumb, as long as you only play for like 1 or 2x the buy-in, I would rather not care at all, and only after care slightly, and yeah, care way more when we play for 100x or 25x basically. All right, and then the next one is, do we want to consider starting new rounds on purpose? So first of all, do we want to lose a game on purpose to start a new round with like better odds of like winning other games? And I think that's clearly a no. There are other situations where, for example, we have a decision on 2 tables and we can try to take the decision first on the 1 table where we know that either if we win or if we lose, we have to start a new round, especially if on the other table we have good chances of winning, for example. So that's something where we can do something, but as soon as we start again, like let's say we even just wait 5 seconds on purpose or 10 seconds on purpose for like 1 game, that actually already costs us EV. And we need to be careful with doing that too frequently, because otherwise we just lose a lot of EV playing the games that we're playing. And starting a new round does not have as much EV. Even starting a new round with like a high chance of like getting first in the first game that we're playing, the EV of this round is still not increased by that much, and it's still not worth to do it most of the time. So that's something where I can see a lot of people doing it, but we can only do it if we don't sacrifice any EV by doing it. So yeah, I hope that's quite clear. That's something that you should basically avoid. All right, so then when do we actually want to pay a lot of attention? And I would, as a guy, kind of rule of thumb, kind of say whenever we have like 3 cards left, we should kind of care. Obviously, also if we have 4 cards left, that can be possible. But there it's more important, or like it's more happening when we have the chance of like winning like 100x or 25x. Other than this, even if we have like 4 good cards on the board, and we still want to, I mean, we can still like add more tables. That's probably still the way to go. Just for the point of yeah, I mean, basically, we don't. I mean, the chances of winning all 4 are so low. Basically, it's like 36 times 36 times 36 times 36. Honestly, I don't know, but like twice. I mean, 36% times 36 is already only 12. So then I guess we have 4%, and whatever, like 1.5% or so, right? So, and having like, it's only like 1.5% chance that we kind of win. And if then we only play for one buy-in, it's just like 50 cents or like, €1 EV or something of the game. So it's really not important at all. It only becomes important if we have like 3 cards or 4 cards left. Obviously, in the case where we have the 4 cards, the good ones, and we play for 100x, this is where we want to stop ragging games, for example. Other than this, we actually don't want to do that. And then on the other hand, now we kind of have, what about opening more tables? And opening more tables becomes very, very important. And that's also why I would recommend to usually play limits where you have the freedom to open as many tables as you want. So let's say we only play 25s or we only play 10s. That's where it's great because we can really decide how many tables we want to play. First of all, as I said, we want to play a higher number of tables because it gives us odds or like better chances of deciding which cards to play. I guess as soon as we play more than 8, we don't have as much time to consider what we're doing. But let's say we play just 6, it's great. And there are situations in which we actually want to play more. So let's say we have like 1 card left only, and we open 1 table and it's the wrong one. And we don't have other tables open. At this point, we actually want to open like way more tables because we just want to hit the good one. And if we hit the good one, we have a lot of options what to do. First of all, we can stall on other tables. Meaning that we either play slow or even take minus EV folds. As I said, that's most of the time only good if we play for a higher buy-in win. If we play for a very low buy-in win, we need to be careful with doing that because if we pretty much do that, we lose so much EV in this game by like minus EV folding or playing slow that it's not worth the effort or like not worth the EV. But for example, what's actually maybe like way more interesting and way more important is increasing the variance that we're playing. So let's say you have a break-even decision between open shoving and min raising or something. Then you should clearly take the open shove because you increase the odds by winning the game quickly or like quicker than the other games. And that's something very, very important. So if you have the chance of just increasing variance and not giving up a lot of EV in one game to increase the chance of winning this game quicker than losing other games or winning other games, even if it's the wrong card, then you should certainly take that. And this is way, way more important. And you should, try to take these spots probably more frequently than you should kind of take the minus EV spots where you kind of fold. It's certainly important that you do. For example, if you play for 25x and so let's say you play for 25x and you have 1 good table and you have 3 or 4 bad tables. Then first of all, you obviously start ragging other tables, and you should definitely either take minus EV folds or play very, very slow on the 4 shitty tables, and on the other hand, try to also increase your variance. So because like winning a 25x in this promotion is really, really great, and like it gives you so much EV. So in this case, it's all right to take minus EV folds. Like if you can, if you could agree with Winamax on all right, I would just lose my whole buy-in in this game, but Winamax doesn't but I will not lose the game before I had the chance to finish the other game. You should always take that, because just for losing 4 buy-ins for the chance of winning 25, it's not 25, right? It's like 36% times 25, and it's not even that, but kind of like that anyways. You are fine losing like 4 buy-ins to kind of win the other game. But on the other hand, if you only play for 2 buy-ins, then you need to be very careful with these folds, because let's say you just fold for like 20% of your stack because you kind of take these minus EV folds. Like this is something that will hurt you in the long run and where you will lose EV. And at this point, it's not worth to kind of finish this promo or like do this for the promo. And then the 7th strategy here in this case, and this is one of the most important ones and one that we cannot go as much in depth in this video than I would like to. But this is where you actually probably get most of your EV from, just to understand when you're supposed to rag tables and when you're supposed to stop. For example, we can always argue that whenever you see all the 3 cards, you stop ragging. But honestly, that's not a good strategy, because the EV of playing these 3 games, depending on the buy-in that you can win, is actually frequently not that high. As I said, right, it's like 4% of winning like all 3 in a row. And yeah, because it's like so low, it's not always the case, not always good to stop, because on the other hand, like you already also make EV while playing. Obviously, we have to consider like, okay, what kind of EV you generally speaking make when playing, which kind of, like what's your ship EV, for example. And if your chip EV is very marginal in the games that you're playing, first of all, I would clearly recommend to play a limit lower, because it will be just so much better for you, and the odds of actually winning the promo will also be so much better for you. But yeah, anyways, if you're in this situation, then obviously, if the odds of winning a game are lower, usually you should stop opening tables quicker, for example. Anyway, let's have a look at some assumptions that I have done, because we want to go slightly more in depth and like see some examples here. So yeah, that's just a quick one. So I wanted to just calculate some stuff for games on 50s. So first of all, what we have to consider is, okay, how many 2x can we hit? What is our ITM? I chose like 36%, which is 40 chip EV, I think, or 24. And we are calculating with red diamond rakeback, so 36%. On average, we basically make 1.5 euro per game. The reason why I didn't include leaderboard money here, for example, is that by playing like 5 more games, usually you don't increase your leaderboard money by much, right? So I think for this calculation, it's not worth to consider it. And like if you see that, there's like 1.5 euro per game that you make only. How likely is, like, if you just lose 20 chips on purpose, or actually if you even lose less than 20 chips on purpose because you're folding a hand which is like a clear open, you see how easy it is to actually kind of create a scenario where you play this game minus EV. And that's why, like, with everything that I have said before, especially as soon as it comes to like taking some minus EV decisions, we need to be very, very careful, and it only makes sense if you're playing for a high multiplier. All right, so then other assumptions, basically the cards that we can hit to win are basically either 37 or 62 in case of having 2 or 3 cards left. And if we, like, basically what we have to do is kind of calculating how frequent, or what are the chances of hitting a bad game. But so let's say we kind of know that we're playing a good game, right? And what we want to consider is, all right, is opening a new game bad for me, or is it not bad? And it becomes bad as soon as the EV, or like as soon as the chances of opening a game which is like a wrong card and losing this game quicker than the game with the good card, like if the chances of this happening are higher, then basically this is like really bad, and that's what we need to consider. That's why we also need this number. So let's just look at some examples here. So first of all, what happens if there's one card left and we have 1 buy-in to win? So first of all, what I told you, it's like the EV of this game is 18 euros, or like 0.36 buy-ins basically. So that's kind of quite easy, right? It's 36% times 1 buy-in, or times 50. So yeah, as I said, quite straightforward. So what happens if we draw a game, or like we kind of get a game with a bad card, and we would lose always doing this game quicker than the other one? That's obviously just theoretically stuff, or like theoretical stuff, but obviously it's not going to happen. The thing is, we definitely need to consider that we don't want to like kind of play too differently, right? Because for winning 1 buy-in, like losing EV, that's what I said, it's just bad. So if we would lose always when we hit a bad game, that's -6. But because we don't lose always, let's say we just have like a 33% chance of losing this game before losing, or winning this game before the other one. Then the V of opening the next game is still -1. So as I said, opening one game usually is plus 1.5 euros. At this point, when we only have like 1 buy-in to win and like 1 card left, and we see the good card. So that's also actually for, I didn't say that, but like for everything that we're talking here, we kind of see the good cards on the table. And that's actually the only situation when you want to stop dragging. If you don't see the good cards, there's absolutely no reason to stop dragging at all. Basically because the negative effect cards are not as high. So yeah, that's basically what you definitely don't want to do. We had this situation where, all right, is it good for me to stop ragging if I can hit like a bad card and lose that and then have a chance, like, you know, then win like less buy-ins? But at the end, it's really not worth it because the chances of hitting a negative card and like losing this negative card are really not that high. Anyway, what we can see in this first example is that whenever we have like one card left and we see this card, we should actually stop ragging games because ragging a new game is minus EV for us. Obviously, we can argue that maybe it's only 25, but no matter what, either opening a new game is pretty much break even, or it is really bad. So in this scenario, we actually just want to stop ragging. All right. So what about other scenarios, like, right? So there's also the scenario where we have two cards left. Again, we see these two cards and we have one buy-in to win. It means that the EV of the games that we're playing is actually 6.5 euros. So, like 6.5 euros is the euro EV that we have right now in this game. If we draw like a bad card and we would always lose, the EV is still 0, right? Of the game that we are drawing, because we still only lose like 1.5 euros and stuff like that. So in this case, we clearly want to continue ragging games. That's actually where I can see a lot of people making mistakes, where like you stop ragging tables just because you see the two cards and you think you can win them, but as soon as you can only win one buy-in, it is still not worth it. And that's something that, yeah, I mean, I think you should definitely keep in mind. Obviously, if you stop and if you really only play for the promo, yes, I understand that. But in the long run, we think about the EV that we're making with like per hour, for example, right? So per hour, opening one more game at this stage is still 1 euro. So it's way better than not opening the game. And if we go through example 3, we still have the same situation there. We are playing for with 2 left, and now we have 5 buy-ins to win. Apparently, it's still bad for us to open a new game, like as we see it. Like obviously, if we would always lose if we open one, then we should not rag anymore. But as soon as the chances of us losing this game are only 33%, still we make 40 cents per game here. So opening one more game is still very, very important. I guess that's kind of where the border is, because we can also argue that, yeah, maybe it's only like maybe 50 cents per game is not what we need, and we can kind of increase our AV by playing slightly better the other games. I think for 5 buy-ins, that's probably still not worth it, so I would continue ragging. But that's where we can make arguments to like when to rag, when to stop. But yeah, what I would actually kind of give you as a big advice here, as long as you have 2 cards left and you have like 1 buy-in or 2 buy-in or 3 buy-ins to win, I think it's quite clear that we don't want to stop ragging. And even if you look at example 3, like we see that, so that's basically 3 cards left and we have 25 buy-ins to win, right? So the EV of the games that we're playing is 58 euros at this point. We still see that by opening, we see that by opening a new game, we actually lose like 1 euro 30 cents per game. So clearly we want to stop ragging at this stage. But that's kind of for 25 buy-ins. So yeah, just think about like, okay, take a guess for yourself. Like, what happens when it's like 10 buy-ins? Is it really worth to stop or not? And yeah, obviously that's something that I will actually go more in depth with our students. And there's basically like one more like strategy video that we have for students where I just go more in depth. Like we have an Excel table where you can actually see a lot of more stuff here. So that's just as an idea. But honestly, I think with all the strategies that you have here, you also get like great advantages already. And by just thinking about these examples, you should know when you're supposed to rag more games, when you should stop ragging. So yeah, I hope that this already helps you quite a lot. And now, I said we have a video for our students. There's actually a chance of getting access to this video and more additional content, even without joining BitBee, because we know that a lot of people actually are curious about what we offer. They're curious about like kind of getting some free content. I can totally understand that. So what we actually wanted to do is like kind of giving you this option, and it's possible, but only if you don't have a Winamax account yet. So if you don't have a Winamax account, you can actually join Winamax with our help. For this, you basically just contact me in private on Discord, and I will kind of walk you through the process. And if you're doing that, you will get kind of additional benefits. Obviously, again, this only works if you don't have a Winamax account, and maybe in the future we will kind of get like some other possibilities to give some more free content for you guys, basically. But as long as this is not the case, this is one option where you can actually get free content. And honestly, I think if you don't have a Winamax account, I think the promo is certainly worth it, and the possibilities that you get here with us are great, and you should certainly take that. So what would you actually get? So first of all, what you can get is additional Nitro content, so especially additional like UNO content. First of all, there's like one in-depth strategy video, which again, I will go through the Excel file that we have. I will show like some other things. I will go through some more examples, like how does it look like, what we're supposed to do, like how to increase our IV, a lot of cool stuff. You will also get access to the UNO charts that the players have, and yeah, basically I'm using them the last 3 days, I guess, or actually 4 days. And I don't know, the first day it was kind of, oh, okay, fuck. So I have like these many cards left, so what I'm supposed to do, all right, let's think. That are my outs. And now it's like, you don't have decisions anymore. You kind of look at the table, you look at the chart, and you know, like, are you supposed to wreck? Are you supposed to stop? It's great. So I would certainly recommend this, and you can get access to that. And you will also get access to a Discord channel where you can actually ask your UNO specific questions, and I'm happy to answer them. Honestly, I think the promo is great, and I want to answer a lot of questions anyways. I'm thinking about it all the time, so that's why like it's kind of like great advantage for you guys if you join Winamax with us, but it's also like cool for me because I can just think about it anyway, so I would like that a lot. Furthermore, there will be like an exclusive group coaching for everyone who is joining Winamax till the end of January. And actually, even like one of the guys who is joining will kind of share his hands. So first of all, there will be an exclusive group coaching with me. Second of all, one of you guys will be able to share his hands and like get kind of like a private in a way, right? So yeah, if that's not cool, I mean, I certainly think that's worse. And then obviously you have other additional benefits. First of all, the normal Winamax stuff where you get your €500 first deposit bonus. But like by contacting us, you might actually get like additional benefits depending on what happens. And we also might consider giving like more group coachings in the future for people who are joining. So yeah, I mean, if you don't have an account, certainly go ahead, join Winamax, start playing this promo with all the info that you have and the one more strategy video that you get. Certainly recommend it. And yeah, if you have any questions other than this, obviously also just feel free and contact me in Discord. That's my tag. If not, you can also find me on the public server. I think that's the easiest. And yeah, just let me know your questions. If you want to join Winamax, yeah, please let me know and we will kind of sort everything out. Other than this, guys, yeah, thanks a lot for joining me here. I hope you learned something. Again, if you have questions, feel free. Even in the public server, you can just ask. I'm happy to help with everything you need. But yeah, other than this, good luck and kind of win the 100x multipliers in this promo with all these tips that you get here. Thanks a lot and good luck.